Hi, I'm Judy Kessinger. Most people know me as the Fit Doctor. Today I'm going to be the Fun Doctor because I'm going to show you some finishing touches that you can do to your garments. I'm going to show you some details that you can maybe add to something that you already have. Now, I've designed two patterns and only two patterns, one for the top and one for the pants. I did full-size patterns so you don't have to scotch tape anything together. And on the inside of the folder, the cardboard that the patterns come in, you're going to find a download code. So make sure you do that because there's a video on there and lots of PDFs. I also designed Design It Yourself book. Now, all the garments I'm going to show you today are in this book. So when I hold these garments up, you might see a little page number that has been embroidered. I did that for me so that I could tell you what page it was on. So this is in the book. Now, people ask me all the time, where do you get your ideas? I love to shop, love to shop. I don't ever buy anything, but I love to shop. And I love to shop boutiques because they have really just creative ideas that you can use. I look for garments that have a different neckline or a different sleeve or maybe even a totally different color. I love pictures. I cut them out of magazines all the time. Now, I'm really good because I used to cut them out of the magazines when I was in the doctor's office, but I don't do that anymore. I take pictures. You have a cell phone, use it, take pictures. I also take pictures on television. If I like a garment that I see on TV, I will just tape it, then run it back again and play it frame by frame until I can actually see the detail. Then I'll take a picture of it. So these are all ways that you can create yourself. So look for those kind of ideas. Now, one of the things I do want to tell you before we get started is people tell me all the time, your clothes look so professional, they look so great. I love the design of them. One of the things that I find a lot of you don't do as you sew, and that's iron. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm a freak about ironing. I love to, first of all, I like to iron. I'm sorry. I'm one of those strange people. But you need to really press your garments. You need to press them as you're sewing, and you need to press them when they're finished. I love my dress form. I love my dress form because I can stand back away from it. A lot of times you hold up a piece of fabric, but you can't really see it at a distance. So pin it to your dress form, step back, then you can see what it's going to look like on you. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is losing weight. No, I haven't done that, but all of you all have. And congratulations, right after you step on the scale and you've lost tons of weight, pat yourself on the back and then go alter your clothes. So I'm going to show you how to do this because it's really simple and a lot of you freak over this idea. When you alter a garment, what you're going to do is first of all put it on. And you don't want to put it on inside out. I know that sounds like a great idea, but you don't. You want to pin it on the outside like this. So if you've lost a lot of weight, if you can't do it yourself, have somebody do it for you, but pin out as much as you want. Here's the deal about altering a garment. All of the detail in a garment is right here. This is where your collar, your buttons, your zipper, whatever you're making, all the detail is right here. You don't lose weight right here. You lose weight over here. So keep this the same and just take in the side seams. If you lose over 100 pounds, you've lost a person. I would either start over again or go shopping. Just go shopping because when you've lost that much weight, I'm not even sure you want to alter what you've got unless it's a really expensive garment. And again, think about it this way, all the detail is here. Now I want to show you a really quick trick because you can see that I have pinned this. So in order to mark where I have pinned, all I have to do, let me take the hanger out of this. All I have to do is to turn this inside out like this, and then I'm going to take chalk, plain old chalk, and I'm going to chalk exactly where those pins are. And then you will see when I take the pins out, you have your seam allowance already built in for you, and you're going to know exactly how much seam to take. So let me take one more pin out and show you. So can you see that if I pulled this up, can you see, let me mark it. That's exactly where your seam would be. That's how much you would be taking out of the shirt or the pants or a jacket or a coat or whatever, a dress. This is just an easy way to mark. Most people want to turn their clothes inside out. Don't do that. Like I said, when you do that, you fit the opposite side of your body, and you don't want to do that. Now, I love to shop, and one of the places I love to shop the most are resale shops. Like you can go to a Goodwill, or you can go to any place like that and look at the garments, but look at them differently. Look at them like they would be fabric, not something you're going to wear. So this is a cute little skirt. Is this adorable? Obviously that would never fit me, but it's adorable. And look at the fabric that it's got. You can use this as a sleeve, which would be great because you would have enough for 2 sleeves. And let me hold this up like this against me so that you can see a little bit better. This is enough for 2 sleeves. This would be enough for a yoke in a shirt at the top. There's just all kinds of stuff that you can do with this. So start looking, when you shop, start looking at garments as fabric as opposed to garments. You're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. Now, I love all of these different trims that you can purchase. They're just appliques that you can put on temporarily, or you can put on there permanently. So I'm going to show you a plain black shirt, and I know it's black again, but hold on. This plain black shirt has appliques on it. But what I did to this applique was it was a lace applique, so I cut it apart so I could put them where I wanted to put them. I glued everything on with a basting glue stick. I tried it on because I wanted to make sure everything is exactly where I wanted it. And once I tried it on, then I went back and I stitched it, pinned a little bit, and stitched it, and you have a really cute shirt. Now, I hand stitched this, so if I don't like this later and I want to change it to something else, all I have to do is take the hand stitching out, and that's a really great tip. Now, I love Pinterest. Everybody loves Pinterest. Somebody told me that you go down the Pinterest hole when you sew, and you probably do. So I want to show you a garment, and this garment was on Pinterest. Now I'm going to show you how I made it, because it was really simple to make. When you find a garment on Pinterest, make sure that you take a screenshot of it so that you can copy it, because it was really, really simple to copy. This is the basic shirt. I'm going to turn it around to the back side so that you can see it. See the back side? Plain black. All right? So we're going to take this plain black shirt, and then we're going to put these pieces on with glue. So all you're going to do is glue those pieces on. How are you going to decide where those pieces should go? Well, let me show you. You have a pattern, a master pattern, and your master pattern is made out of Patternese. It's the most wonderful product in the world because you can see through it. So what I did with this shirt, I decided where I wanted all of these pieces to go, and I drew it on my Patternese. Then I held that up to me in the mirror so I could see if that was a good line. Now the line that goes across here, let me show you one more time. The line that goes right across the bust, right here, that needs to be in the right place. Because if it's up here, it's going to look like a yoke. If it's down here, you're going to look like you borrowed somebody else's garment. So that needs to be a complementary line. Again, if you draw all this on your Patternese, you can hold it up to yourself and you can see through it, and you can see exactly where your bust is going to go in the Patternese. I would much rather you make a mistake on the Patternese than make a mistake on the fabric itself. So all I did was, once I decided which ones I wanted to be on there, on the shirt, I actually cut them out of fabric, glued them onto the black, the solid black, and then all I had to do is cover it with ribbon. When I stitched the ribbon in place, it held all the pieces. Really, really simple. Now you have a double front, and that's not a problem, but as far as the double front goes, if you don't like it, go in and cut out the black, save the black pieces, and now you got another top. So it's just a really simple trick. I want to show you how to jazz things up, and we all know scarves, right? Scarves really make a difference in whatever it is that you're wearing. You can have an infinity scarf like this is, or you can take this scarf. Now, there are tons of things on Pinterest that show you how to tie scarves, how to make them look different. There's all kinds of ways to do it. And I love scarves because it really takes, it just jazzes anything up and gives it color. Jewelry does exactly the same thing. You need to be careful with certain things that you wear because certain things that you wear show camouflage. Now, camouflage, the really meaning of camouflage is to hide. I don't want you to hide. I want you to look beautiful. So let me show you a few ways that you can solve fitting issues with your sewing. One is to do a yoke. Now, can you see the yoke? A lot of people have sloping shoulders, and it just stresses them out. You're not going to really solve your sloping shoulders. You can put shoulder pads in something, which is okay, but it doesn't really solve the sloping shoulders. And if you travel like I do, and you would put shoulder pads in all your garment, one side of my suitcase would be this high, and one side of my suitcase would be this high. So I want to show you a little trick. This is a yoke. Can you see that? And you can see with the black next to the print. When you have a shoulder seam in a garment, it points directly to the fact that you have sloping shoulders. And when you look in a mirror, that's what you're looking at. Oh my gosh, look at my sloping shoulders. You're your own worst enemy. We don't see that as much as you do, but I understand it. So that line is pointing to your sloping shoulders. What if we brought it forward, just like this is? You can see this has no shoulder seam. So if you brought it forward, then you have a totally different look. Now let's talk about shoulder pads just a minute. Because this is the perfect garment. Now I'm not sure that you can, I'm going to lay this down here and point these out. This is the yoke. Can you see the yoke? Now what most of you would do would be to draw the yoke, cut your garment, and inset the yoke. I want you to think of another way to do this. I want you to actually make the garment itself with the shoulder seam and put the yoke over the top of it. Now you have two layers right here, and you just built in your own shoulder pad. I use a product called French Fuse, and it comes in two different colors. It comes in black and white. Doesn't matter to me which color you use. But I put French Fuse on the actual garment itself, on the jacket itself, where this yoke was going to go. Then I cut out the yoke, and I put French Fuse on the yoke. And then when I laid it on top, can you see I have 2 layers of fabric and 2 layers of French Fuse? So it kind of is your built-in shoulder pad. And then all you have to do is just stitch it in place. So when you top stitch it in place, you've got a totally different garment, but you've got one that gives you a square shoulder. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like on me. Princess lines are phenomenal. They're absolutely phenomenal because they really give you a slimming look, no matter where you put them. But you want to make sure that your princess lines go right over your bust. How do you do that? Remember that pattern ease that we had? Hold it up in the mirror to yourself and mark exactly where your bust is. And that's the way you're going to choose your princess lines. You can put a princess line in a dress. You can put it in a jacket. You can put it in anything you own. But you can also put it in something you already have. This jacket, can you see the princess lines? You can see that clearly. The princess lines, they were added after the jacket was made. I wanted something just a little bit different. I mean, I love the color, I love the collar, I loved everything about it, but I needed it to be jazzier. So what I did was I cut strips of the black. I glued them in place with Steam-A-Seam, wonderful, wonderful product. And then all I had to do was to stitch them on. Now Schmetz Needles is a brand new needle. Now, and I don't use anything but Schmetz needles. I think they're the Cadillac of all sewing machine needles. They have a non-stick needle. A lot of times when you use glue, and that's what Steam-A-Seam is, it's glue in sheet form, your needle wants to like stick in the fabric itself. Use the new non-stick needles. Go to your fabric store, sewing machine, retail shop, whatever, and ask for the non-stick needles. But this is just a great way to get some jazz into that. I also love color. And I love color. I love color to put into things. Now this is a great camouflage. My mother told me when I was very young, and then she kept telling me this as I got older, because I've always looked like this, that big girls don't wear stripes. And as a perfect teenager, I would always say, why don't we wear stripes? You just don't wear stripes. They don't look nice on big girls. I love stripes. Stripes are the most fun thing in the world to work with. But when I put this jacket on, you will see that I have the green in here. The green is what you're seeing. It isn't the stripes. But the stripes are the accent to the green, basically, not the other way around. Now, I want you to see that this looks like piping. One of the things I did with this was, let me unbutton this real quick, and I love the buttons on this, they're fun. What I did with this was I put French fuse on, first of all, I put French fuse on the facing. See how big the facing is? I put French fuse on the facing, but if you notice this, it looks like piping, correct? It isn't. I just didn't put the facing all the way to the inside, and I let just a little bit stick out. Perfect, perfect detail for those of us that are in a little bit of a hurry. And I love to sew, but I want to finish. I don't like unfinished projects. So this is really a cute garment, and it is cute with the stripes. You notice that the stripes are different on the sleeve, just a little bit on the sleeve, because I've turned them the opposite way. So detail, 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 again, makes it fun. Another thing that you can do is I love to glue, and I know you all call me the queen of glue. This is a gorgeous leather jacket, all right? But again, it needed some jazzing up. So what I did was I glued these nail heads with the E6000. I glued them to the jacket. If you have ever in your life tried to put the nail heads in leather, it doesn't work. So I bent all the prongs to the inside. Then I put a drop of the E6000 on the back, and I glued the nail heads in place. So you don't have to poke through the leather or anything like that, but it really gives the jacket a lot of pizzazz. And this is what it looks like when it's on. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wonderful garment, and if you look at this, it already has a lot of jazzy points to it. This was the fabric. Is this fabric wonderful? So I'm going to show you on the back side of this garment what this looks like. And all I have to do is to take this fabric, again, glue it to whatever garment you want, and you can jazz it up with just a piece of fabric. So again, start looking at your fabric a little bit differently. This garment was fun to do. This is also in the book. And I used the sheer fabric that came with this applique. And doesn't this look like I appliqued this on? I didn't. What I did was, let me show you the fabric it came in. This is the fabric that it came in. So I'm going to hold this up to me so that you can see it, like that. I put steam-a-seam on it. I glued it to the shirt, cut out the excess, glued it to the jacket, and then all I had to do was stitch it on. And you've got a really pretty jacket that everybody thinks that you appliqued, which you didn't. Again, I glued the nail heads to this as well. So anytime you glue, you're going to jazz things up. It's really fun. But what if you just want to do something temporarily? You don't want to commit to it? This jacket I made for my 50th wedding anniversary, and my kids were wonderful. They bought my husband and I a cruise. But the best part is they went with us. So we had a really great family cruise. This trim that is on here was very expensive, but this is all hand sewn in place so that I can go back to a black jacket and I can jazz it up with another kind of trim. These are the kind of things that really, really make a difference in the detail. I love zippers. I am a zipper freak. So I'm going to show you a couple of garments with zippers because I love them. You can see that these gold zippers change the look of this jacket totally. I even put the zippers in the French seam right here. All right, princess seam right here. And obviously I put them down the center. So this makes a really big difference in the jacket. So I'm going to show you another thing that you can do with zippers. Now we're going to pretend that this is my pattern. And this is my back and this is my front. Very, very simple. I'm going to add something to my pattern so that I can color block. Now I love to color block because when you color block, again, it's another form of camouflage. You're not necessarily looking at something that you don't like. It's the whole picture. So it's really a great way to camouflage. These are just right angles. That's all this is right angles. And if I put this on either side, whoops, let me turn it over, on either side of my garment like this, I can color block that, because you can even see that color blocked because one's yellow and one's blue. But let me show you the garment. So this is what the garment looks like in my favorite color, black and white. I know I use a lot of black and white, but I love black and white because you can accent so many things with it. So I'm just a black and white freak. But I want to show you what I did with this. After I color blocked it, it looked a little drab, so I decided to add zippers. These are YKK zippers that have these beautiful, beautiful zipper pulls. Now, all of these zippers were glued on. This is a product called Sewlutions. It's sticky, so I can put these zippers exactly where I wanted them on this shirt, all right? One of the things you have to be careful of is this one, because remember, it's dangle. So you don't want that dangle there. You want the dangle above or below. So by gluing this on, I can actually try this garment on. It's not on there permanently because I could move them if I wanted to. Remember that Sewlutions is sticky, which is a wonderful product. So after I put the shirt on and I'm really, really happy with it, then what I do is put a hot iron to this. Now I own it. Now it's on there permanently and it's not going to come off. But you still have to stitch it on. There is no way that you could ever pin this to make it stay in place. So by ironing this and making the glue melt to hold the zippers on, you're ready to go. Put it under your machine, stitch it on, and you've got a beautiful shirt. One thing I want to tell you real quick is that I use separating zippers for this, because this is what comes with these really beautiful YKK pulls. When I did that, I had to glue the bottom of that because it's a separating zipper and I don't want it to come undone. Just a little dab of E6000 before you start your project, let it dry, and you're ready to go. This is, I call my donut. See the donut? The donut's really, really cute, but let me show you. This is really cute. This gives a garment detail. You could take a shirt you already have right now and just add a donut of the fabric. Don't have that fabric anymore? Did you throw your scraps away? Just get a complementary fabric to whatever garment you're making and you can put the donut to it. So it's really a cute detail, but it adds a whole lot to a garment. I showed this at an expo not too long ago, and one lady said, "Oh my gosh, I would drip that in my ketchup." You're not going to wear this to drip in your ketchup, but if you're worried about dripping it in your ketchup, you can make a shorter donut. Can you see that doesn't, that's not just quite as big. So just fun things to do to your garment. Let's go back to zippers just a minute. Let me tell you one little thing about zippers. They're the jewelry of your garment, so choose them wisely. Make sure you get the biggest bang for your buck because your time is just as important as your fabric. You can see the decorative zipper that I have in this garment, but one of the things you need to remember about zippers, that wherever you put them, doesn't matter where you put them, they must be supported. And when I say supported, if you put plain fabric with no interfacing on it, you're going to wind up with a bacon zipper. Bacon zipper looks like that. So if you'll just take your interfacing, now this again is French fuse, it's a tricot interfacing, comes 60 inches wide, which is a really good bonus. You need to put this on your fabric before you actually insert your zipper. That way your zipper is going to lay perfectly flat every single time, no matter where you put it. Now you can see that this one has a lot of zippers in it, but let me show you my latest one, and I love this. This is just a dolman sleeve, as you can see, and it's a boat neck. But look, it has the zippers in it. Now again, if I had just taken this fabric just as is and not put the zippers in place, you'd be in really big trouble because they would bubble on you or they would bow on you. Look like bacon. And I also put the nail heads in there, and I put the French fuse on the back side of that. So all of these little tricks that we're doing, all of these little details that we're doing, make your garment spectacular. We're all out there for compliments, right? So we want somebody to say, "Oh, that's beautiful." And never ever imagine that you designed it, because you are your own creator. Have fun.